The adrenaline is pumping, your head is bursting, and the motorbike hankers after the next bend. This is how you could describe the feeling of man against man on the racetrack, of free roads without contraflow, with little risk and the possibility to let it rip. Somebody who can't live without duels, and the circuit is Michael Schumacher. If you really want to ride motorbikes and experience limits, I can only recommend this track. If you can't leave without the circuit and everything that comes with it, you become a racing driver, a main character in the game of speed and rankings. There's a guy who had everything already but can't leave without it. A guy who is at the top and can do more. Or a girl who dreams of being a racing driver. It just races. It's so much fun you can't describe it. The duels and when you're in a group, when you're fighting. I can't describe it. You have to experience it. Somebody who could now go all the way to the top is the IDM Series champion Martin Bauer. The 32-year-old has been a professional for 10 years, and the track is set for him to become world champion. Measuring yourself against Max Neukirchner and Troy Bayliss is tempting for every top driver when the motorbike and the finances are right. However, if you just trail behind, a world championship can quickly turn into a nightmare, especially for an experienced serial winner. I would say I could ride at the top level for another 6 or 7 years, and that's enough to establish myself in a world championship. If it is a good opportunity, then I would think, why not? But everything has to be just right. I won't travel to the world championship just to be there. Making it or not is not a question that 17-year-old Katrin Meyer is asking. She tries to be there even if she doesn't have enough money. Her 50-horsepower bike needs the small parts necessary to fight for the championship, but it's enough for a place in the top 10. More is not possible at the moment. You just need sponsors. You can be as good as you could possibly be, but if you don't have the money, you can't do anything. But I think if the money is right and you work hard, then everybody has a chance to make it. You just have to work hard and then it becomes easier. This is not a problem anymore for Michael Schumacher. The 7-time Formula One world champion can select materials and motorbike, then a little bit of training, and it's enough for a good place in the superbike category. It is hard to imagine that the 91 times Grand Prix winner used a license from Luxembourg when he started karting because it wasn't necessary to deposit any money there. In the first instance, you need the financial opportunities, support to be able to participate in motorsports. That is most people's downfall. I didn't have the financial opportunities at the beginning either, but then many well-meaning people, advisors and sponsors, helped me to get the whole thing going. I was lucky, used my chances and ended up where I ended up. For Martin Bauer, it seems to be the right moment. Enough talent, a little bit of money and experience are in place for the World Championship. However, successes will have to be fought for much harder, and it changes your life when you become a World Championship professional. The question is then whether you really want it, because you mustn't forget the guys have to fight over 16 racing weekends, lots of test runs in between, so you're traveling a hell of a lot. And will you dare the jump into the World Championship? I would say I would make it dependent on which opportunity arises. Katrin Meyer is still watching the big ones. She wants to be at the start of the 125s in 2009. Whether it's going to be the big career is anybody's guess right now. In her 11th year of racing sports, Katrin is still miles away from the big money and carefree riding. But the 17-year-old does look upward and knows what performance is expected from a top racing driver like Michael Schumacher. Wow, Schumi. Honestly, he does ride really well. It's the first time he has ridden here, and he already has some points. Wow, that's just so great. I mean, he has started with cars and hasn't done that many races before, and has failed at some as well. Good gracious. The master surely appreciates such praise. He could also imagine wasting his retirement racing bikes, especially now that it worked without riding out during the last motorbike weekend, quite different to the weeks before. I slipped up here and there. I probably didn't judge it right here and there. It wasn't a case of ambition, but simply inexperience. Today was the first time that I did 2 races in a row without riding out, and I want to improve my statistics a little bit. For the Formula One champion, this means he wants to improve. For Kathrin Meyer, it means relevant results. If it doesn't work, there is a life out there for the 17-year-old after the Motorbike World Championships, but her dream remains. Actually, racing driver. When I've done my A-levels, then I want to study first, but I don't want to leave the sport behind. Then I want to manage something within the team or something like that, but want to stay in the sport. Whether taking part in the World Championship, World Champion or novice, what brings them together is the love of motorbiking. Whether or not they are successful remains to be seen. But to move one's bike into zones never imagined before, that's only possible on the racetrack.